This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Yo. What the hey, look, I got my hat on for tonight. How the hell's everybody doing? Yep, there's Chloe. Chloe. What the heck? Come on, Stacy. Jeez. Thank you, Gray, for everything you do. You make such a positive difference for so many people. Such a beautiful soul. Thank you to you and your freaks, or you and the freaks for being such a loving family of being a freak.
Thank you, Ray, for everything you do.
Well, thank you.
Such a positive difference for so many people. You're such a beautiful soul. Thank you to you and the freaks for being such a loving family. I love being a freak and I love you also very much ! !_basic generous !_basic boom.
Yeah, she actually tattooed the freak heart on her. Literally, you know that freak heart that you guys put in the chat there, the freak heart? She has that as a tattoo, okay? Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And, well, you know, I've mentioned it before when she's not even here, but she wrote that book, The Death of Nine, the Dyatlov Pass mystery. It's on Amazon. There's actually, I keep the link underneath in my video. The link for the book has been on my, in the description of my videos for a long time. So you guys should check it out. It's got filled with photographs, really easy to just kind of go through. And you know what? She never asked me to do that. She didn't send me the money to do that. I'm just saying it again. All right, just saying it again. But I think people should go see that, or read it, buy it. Doesn't even cost that much. Anyways, thank you. And as you can see at the top of the screen, that's the goal up there. It looks like we're already at 40% because of that, so that was pretty sweet. And yeah, me and Stacy did a series on the Dyatlov Pass mystery. Gosh, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now, and it was pretty cool. We just sort of, you know, it seemed like we did it during the winter. It just was so awesome. It felt like we were just kind of there, sort of, you know. Did the maps and everything, figured out all the different locations, and still pretty crazy story. Yeah. What's Chloe doing over there? Looks like she's eating the actual pillow there. Weirdly. Chloe, what are you doing? Chloe. Yeah, what are you doing? Screw you, Gray. I'm gonna keep eating this. Wow, she's gonna dig a hole right through that thing. Anyways, I have a whole bunch of stuff to do tonight on here, so it was good and fun to watch, and you guys collaborated. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, anyways, during the show, if you guys like to help support the channel, it'll increase the goal. Plus, you get to take out the super freak boss, who's right currently now is Stacy up there. And it all helps support the channel, and you know, we're getting near the end of the month, and there you go, there's 15 Lee right there. It allows us to this month I'm going to try to make a much larger donation than last month, like a couple thousand more or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. I've been working really hard doing 2 different shows, to try to get those numbers up. All right, let's see. Got to get the. Oh, and then I think I left out Crime Freak, Colleen Daly Page, maybe Eugenie, Lisa Valenzuela, and Lori Will from The Spin at the end of last night. So I put them in for today's show. And then we've got 15 Lee right there. Get Stacy in there 20 times. Let's see. All right, there we go. So quiet. Let's see. Yeah, they're pretty. I like to think my dogs are pretty cute. Blue is, he's the original crime dog there, but Chloe's just an instigator. She's literally a crime herself, I think. Okay, all right, let me get to the kind of some random stuff. Okay, so the New York Post reporter, the guy the lady with the machete that we've been talking about, he just says he's so used to being around, he's been covering this kind of stuff for so long, it just doesn't really faze him. That's why he wasn't flinching and stuff.
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, he was just, that's what he explained. That, like, he's just been around it so much. Basically like somebody in the war or something. It's just something like that. And he said it was the way her voice was. It didn't seem like she was going to do something to him. So that's why he wasn't nervous. Okay, so that was out there. Thanks, Jim Lon. 1.21 gigawatts. That's the dock, right? Hey, Stacy, let me ask you something. Since you're a writer, do you use the word ROW, row, for arguing much? Like, hey, those two people down the street were in a row yelling at each other. Or something. Thanks, Jim Bino.
4 years been here, damn it, flies great.
Oh yeah, where is that fly? Oh, so you lived in England? Oh, I don't think I remember. Oh yeah, you were in the military. That's right. Huh? So they use it over there. Huh? How come I've never even heard it used like that? Let's see. It's not really an American thing, I don't think. Huh. That's weird. It doesn't even make sense. How do they spell the word row? Like, hey, I'm going to go down, the Skid Row, or like the, I guess to, what row are you going to sit in? Is it spelled the same? All right. Let's see. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna move on now. So that was the update on the machete guy. The calmness of that dude. He just said he's seen it so many times, and he also could tell she wasn't gonna do something to him. He sort of seemed. He thought she was nuts, though. Wow, spelled the same, huh? Jeez. Wow. It's hard to even make out the context because it's in the sentences. You could take it a different way. Boy, they were fighting. They were in a row fighting, or something, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's redundant. Thanks, Travelin' Teresa. Yeah, I just noticed there's no sound. Is that no sound here? Wait, was there sound? Yeah, there was. Jeez. Uh-oh, you're down to 202 hit points, Stacy. Alright, we got that one out of the way. Then we're going to switch over to this Grady Judd press conference today about this crazy story. Oops. Well, we might as well do it before the story starts. Love your trigger, bunny, honey. You ain't funny. I don't need your money. I need a trigger, bunny. I ain't no dummy. Need the money even when it's not sunny. I'm feeling crummy without my money. Hey, I just did all that on the fly right there. Man, I should be one of those guys on the street. You know what I was thinking? Let me switch it over to that ending thing really quick. I wonder if I turn off the this is just for fun here, you guys. Has nothing to do. Ooh, that's an old show. Oh, that's my other screen. Whoa! I'm all over the place. Hold on. This one. So what if I went over here and then I turned off...
I've been doing this true crime thing.
This one. And then have this music playing. Hey, the bunny and Lori. That goes. She's doing it right to that one too. That works. Look at that, man. Oh, that's freaking awesome. Use the bunny dance for that one. Lori's trying to one up the bunny. Can you see that? Oh yeah. Jeez. Now she's still going without even the music. Yeah, she's crazy. Ugh. I hadn't even thought of that yet till just then, so I thought I'd give it a shot. All right, anyways, let's do the Grady Judd press conference here. It's kind of a weird dilemma story here. I mean, not really, but these two parents are psycho as hell. Well, I'll just kind of tell you the situation. It sort of reminds me a little bit, I know, don't get angry everybody, but sort of has a feel to the elements where in abortion some people don't like certain things, right? Like certain sides don't like certain elements of abortion, but it feels similar even though it's not really, but I have the same inner feeling of it, okay? So let's play it. Corey, I can't believe it. I came here to talk about... I don't give a shit. Here, we're going to play this and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me turn up the volume.
Some of them have levity. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with me today. You know, we have a lot of press conferences. Some of them have levity. Some of them are very serious. And then there are some that are tragic and horrifically sad, and that's what this one is about today.
Yeah,
I'm about to release information to you that probably before I get halfway through this press conference, you will be thinking, why in the world is he saying these horrible things? Well, you need to know. You need to know in the real world, when people don't do what's right, really, really, really bad things happen. So we're going to tell you what this child experienced at the hands of their parents because the parents didn't do the right thing. I want to introduce you to the parents, to Keisha Williams, who's 24, and Ephraim Allen Jr., who's 25. Here's when it all began. In July of 2020, when this beautiful baby boy was only 10 months old, he suffered a near-drowning experience at a short-term rental in the northeast area of the county. A near drowning. He toddled off into the pool. There was life-saving efforts to try to save this baby's life. When they got him to the hospital at the conclusion of all of their valiant efforts, the child had no brain activity, could not even blink his eyes, cannot move his extremities, and quite frankly, it was recommended to the parents that he be removed from any life-saving measures because the child would forever be in a coma with no brain activity. They didn't want to do that. So ultimately, these parents were sent home with their infant on a ventilator.
Yeah, so that's where the story is weird. You know, it's a horrendous story. I mean, just that part alone, you go, oh, shit, man. So the state and everybody was willing to let the child just die naturally sitting there, right? And then you've got these barbarian parents. At the time, they didn't seem like that. They seemed like, oh, yeah, they're not willing to give up. They're not willing to give up. However, the state was paying them money to take care of this child at home. So it almost feels like maybe that was part of what was going on here. But, you know, the weird part about the story is the child doesn't feel anything. It's not even really alive. It's brain dead. There's just pumps putting oxygen in its lungs, and it's moving around, right? So that's where there's this weird part of the story. Even one of the reporters asked something similar. So it's this thing where, here, let's play the rest of it, and then you'll see how, I don't know, it's going to be weird in court when somebody literally gets down to it, but I don't know how you forgive what these parents did to this child that really isn't alive, honestly. It's just sitting there with its brain dead. And with all the other siblings around in the house.
A permanent ventilator with a stomach tube. And health care, home health care 3 times a week. Now that went on for over 2 years. As of last October, the parents began to reject the home health care. Despite the health care company's best efforts, they would not be home, would not answer the door. So the last time home health care dealt with this child was in October of last year.
Yeah, the 2 years has nothing to do with anything.
Understand, all of this was occurring at absolutely no cost to the parents. In fact, the mother was receiving benefits to stay home and take care of this baby.
I think that's what the angle is here.
So let's fast forward to Friday, May the 12th. There's a 911 call to the city of Bartow, to the Azalea Apartments where they live, where the mother said, you know, the child's pulsometer is not working correctly. This is really not an emergency. You don't need red lights and sirens, but we'd like fire to come over and check the baby. So they responded to the house in a normal, routine fashion. And when they arrived, they saw this child hooked up to a ventilator. And this ventilator was working appropriately, but there appeared to be no life in the child. This child had an extremely extended stomach, and it was green. This child was rotting in the bed. They rushed this baby to the hospital, where for over an hour, or about an hour, between EMS, fire services, and medical personnel, they tried to save this baby's life. At the hospital, when they started taking off the diapers and the clothes, they noticed ulcers, large gaping wounds through the body down into the muscle. They noticed there was no rectum. There was just a big gaping hole where the intestines and the spinal column was visible. They notified the Bartow Police Department, who immediately said, hey, we need the sheriff's office to assist us. This is a very complex investigation. So our homicide team responded. We noticed immediately the child smelled of decomposition. We went back to the house where the child laid lifeless as it had for 2 years, and smelled decomposition in the room. The medical doctor at the emergency room said this child has not had the appropriate care for months. The medical examiner at the autopsy said the child had sepsis, bilateral pneumonia, stage 5 ulcers, obvious not child neglect. So we talked to the parents and we go, what is going on here? They said, well, they didn't want DCF to take their children, so they didn't call. But they had tried to get more home health care. So we introduced ourselves to the potential health care providers, and they said, we accepted them. We went there and wanted to see the child. They said, don't wake the child up today. This is just an introduction. And the next time they went, nobody answered the door. So obviously they were trying to create a facade or to say, well, we asked for help. They let this baby rot and die in its bed. I've done this for 5 decades. I have seen thousands of children abused, hundreds of children murdered at the hands of parents. I have never seen the horror that we saw with this poor child at the hands of these two folks. I talked to all the detectives in the room. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life? No one has. You can't even imagine how horrible the wounds, the ulcers that this child endured at the hands of these folks. They're charged with aggravated manslaughter, among other charges, at this time. They were locked up in the county jail with a bond of $100,000. The state attorney's office actually filed direct once we got the initial medical examiner's report. The state attorney's office, Brian Haas, our state attorney, who is simply the very best, is game on every day. And I'm certain if you talk to him, he would be as mortified as we all are that this baby was left in this condition. My job is to protect children, to protect everyone. But my heart is with protecting the very youngest, because you see, they have no choice of where they live or what they eat or what they wear or who they associate with. It's up to parents to make the right decisions. And I suggest to you the right decisions haven't been made since this child was 10 months old and suffered a horrible, horrible, horrible tragedy. And then I suggest to you, and this is only supposition on my part, they just got tired of the baby. They just got tired of the intensive care this child needed. And as a result.
And let me ask you something. Could at any time they had see, here's the thing is, these two people are monsters and barbarians, okay? But for the sake of a conversation, you need to remove your emotional thoughts about it. These two parents are absolute monsters, okay? We all agree that they should serve time in prison. But forget that part of it. And just think about things logically for a second here. So let me ask you something. The state was going to kill that, right when they went to the hospital, they said, hey, we'll just let it die right now, okay? And they took the baby home for whatever reason. I don't know, right? So when they took the baby home, does it then immediately switch to the baby's condition has changed and now it is a life that could, is there something legal going on there? Once they take it home, is the child deemed a life? Or at any time, just pay attention, everybody. Don't start typing in death penalty and all this shit. I don't agree with that whatsoever, the death penalty, okay? I mean, so here's the thing is, at any time, could these parents have taken the kids back to... Could the parents have taken this child back to the hospital, and the hospital was said, okay, great, we'll just let him die here again? Could that have happened? I'm just asking the question. Obviously, the hospital would do it humanely, right? The hospital would have done it humanely. We know that, Zozo. Let me get through the conversation. I want you guys to think about this rationally. He took the baby. They took the baby home. Now, when they take it home, does it immediately make it so now it's a living being in the legal department? The baby wasn't alive, really, when they took it home. It was brain dead, only able to live off a ventilator by artificial means. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? The baby was not really alive when they took the baby home, and it was just forced oxygen into its lungs, pumping blood through his body, absolutely has no brain activity whatsoever. So once the baby was taken home, right? Once the baby was taken home, does that mean that the baby legally has changed its condition now? Now it's an actual living life that is somebody needs to treat as if it's their own kid. I mean, because what's weird is I want to know this. Could they have taken the baby into the hospital a year into it and said, yeah, it's not working out. Is it okay if you guys just let the baby die now? So that's the part where when you go to court, everybody, this is going to be brought up. Now, here's the thing. Here's the reality, though. The fact that those parents had the ability to allow their kid to sit in a room and rot like that, and their other kids are living there with decomposition filling the house, the aroma. Those people should be in prison for a long time. But would you call it like malice murder? There was no feelings. This kid had absolutely zero brain function at all, felt absolutely nothing. It's just absolutely disgusting what those parents did. Do you see how crazy that is? It's a weird story. So that's what I want people to think like that. So get rid of the emotion part and think through it like, wow, that is weird, right? So that's why this has sort of a similar abortion feeling to it. You know, you have that same sort of like, yeah, that's weird. How come you can, like, you remember my whole story about a mugger who punches a woman in the stomach who's 3 months pregnant? The mugger didn't even know she was pregnant and loses the baby, and the lady loses the baby, and everybody gets outraged about the death of the baby, even though it was 3 months old. But that same lady was heading to an abortion clinic, let's say. And then it would have been okay for her to have killed the child, right? Have the child killed. Yeah, I mean, that's the only term you can use for it. But when the mugger punched her, oh God, it was terrible. So in this case, it's similar, right? This is sort of has that similar weirdness where the state was going to do it, and it was going to be okay to just let the child die there because it had no brain activity. Then these barbarian parents take the kid home, and they probably use it as an ATM machine, getting the money every month, and really didn't give two shits about it, and let the kid's body wither away and just in a disgusting way with the family around and everything like that. But the child didn't suffer whatsoever. It was just sort of like this, I don't know, like a corpse that was I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's a crazy story, and this is sort of a groundbreaking weirdness story here, right? Absolutely wild. And so I just wanted people, before everybody got too worked up emotionally, to try to, I guess maybe start the story. I should have started it backwards. You get what I'm saying? But I think these parents, remember what I said before, when somebody dies at a party that you're having, and the person thinks, let me chop them up into bits, and because I don't want the police to get angry, and you have the ability to do that, I would say those people should be in prison for 20, 30 years, because anybody who has the ability to chop somebody up should be in prison. And I feel exactly the same way about these people right here. The fact that you could sit there and allow who you said was a living being, and not only that, it was your child, and it's in your house with your other kids, and you let it just sit there and have its entire body rot and, what do you say, stage 5 ulcers, the rectum was gone. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, what the hell are you guys doing? So it makes you wonder if they were doing stuff before. They were just getting the money, probably forgot about the kid in that room for days and days and days. And after a while, they went, oh, shit, we can't really explain this. Oh, crap. I don't know, man. It's wild. Yeah, so it's going to be a weird court case. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to think the way you do, Zozo. I just wanted to, before we got too... what do you guys think about that argument, though? I don't have an argument pro them. I'm just saying... The state was going to kill the baby, right? They were going to allow the baby to die. Then the parents take the baby home because the baby has zero brain activity. Then you take the baby and you bring it home and the baby dies. It doesn't feel anything, even though it's disgusting what happened to it. It's completely out of it, right? There you go. I think they should get, I put them in prison for 20, 25 years. Yeah, especially when you allow something that happened like that in your home with children around, took no care. You accepted responsibility for the child when you took it home, but it's just sort of interesting because I wonder. Let me ask you this: the baby was legally dead, yeah, right? They had no brain function at all. It was going to be in a vegetative state its entire life with no chance of ever coming out of it. So you sort of wonder about it. Like, what in the hell's going to... people are typing in death penalty all quick and shit, but how come you weren't saying that when the doctor was going to let it die? Right? So when the doctor was just like at the hospital, they were saying, yeah, screw it, they didn't say it like that. They said, it's brain dead, we're just going to let the baby die. How come you weren't outraged at that? Because this isn't even a life right now. See how it's similar to that other argument? The abortion argument? It's got sort of like a reverse angle. It's strange. The state deemed it not a life, just like a baby is at 3 to 6 months. It's not a life, right? And then, let's see. Yeah, I would say like 20, 25 years for them. But I bet they won't get anything near that. I think what will happen is when they get to trial, the part about suffering, there'll be zero. So the part that outrages everybody, and the way Grady Judd made it sound like, was that this kid suffered somehow in the way he spoke. But there was no suffering. What it really is I think it'll be like desecration of a corpse. Something like that. I mean, isn't that sick? But I think it's going to get down to a level where it's just like, the arguments in court will be, was this baby alive? The answer will be no. The only reason it was maintaining its existence is because of artificial means. And then they'll say, well, it wasn't alive. So it's really just like desecration of a corpse or something. That's what they'll end up having. But I would charge them with something else. I don't know, man. It seems like, what do you charge them with? Like, you can't charge them with malice murder. Yeah, but they already kind of deemed it not alive, Bama, forever. They said that they were going to just let it die at the hospital, but they decided to take it home and have it live off of artificial respiration. So, I don't know. But see, that's what I like to have people think about things instead of just, I was looking at the comments while he was talking, and it was so, like, the emotions take over, right? And the whole time I was saying, okay, now I want you guys to slow down a little bit and think through it a little bit too, right? The state recommended that all life support be removed. Right. Yeah, it had no chance to recover. Right. We know that, DB. I was reading that. You don't need to explain it. We just heard it. The parents get to decide, and they took home a baby that was not alive. It was completely brain dead, and your brain is really what makes you alive, not your heartbeat. and you're sitting there, and it's just pumping oxygen through your lungs, and your heart's still beating. But other than that, the child was completely brain dead, had no chance. So, you know, it's one of those things. It's sort of I thought it would be an interesting moral dilemma. I don't have any moral problem with throwing them in prisons for 20 years or so, but the child wasn't even alive at the time. It was in their house all that time. So this will be an interesting one to take a look at later. I hope it doesn't bother you having these types of conversations, everybody. You know, but as soon as I heard him, I was like, oh, this is a weird one now. Now we're in that same realm. You guys know what I'm saying, right? Remember all the times we've had the conversations about abortion and sort of like the weird angles to look at it in certain scenarios? And don't you have almost exactly the same feeling? I mean, I did. As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, yeah, something's weird here. Yeah, so anyways, I hope that doesn't offend everybody. Something always seems to offend everybody. So anyways, I'm going to move on to something else now. But I think it's great to talk about these kinds of things. And I think what's going to come down to I think an ACLU attorney is going to take this case. They're going to argue that this is what's going to happen. The child was not a life as deemed by the state when they took the child home. They just they weren't ready to give up their child yet. And while their behavior was barbaric, the child did not suffer and had already been deemed dead. So therefore, the appropriate charge would be desecration of a corpse in the house. And then other ones like child abuse for their living kids for having a dead body in the house that had the decomposition odor in it, and things like that. Okay, because I think that is really where it's going to end up being. And I hope there's a way to give them some sort of a maximum of something where they're in prison a long time. Because they're people that have the ability to do that are monsters. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, I hope you guys didn't mind the conversation there, even if you don't agree. But I think that's what's going to happen later. The child was never alive after that swimming pool accident. Awesome. And boy, look at those super chats flowing on that conversation. It must have been absolutely amazing. Yeah. That was great. Let's see. Including hospital nursing, I've never heard of a brain dead person being discharged home. Oh, I think there's been other ones like that. Although, I don't know. I actually don't remember. Remember that other case where that girl was in there? She was vegetative, but... Uh-huh. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to some other stories now, but again, if you'd like to help support the channel, other than the first one by Stacy, it's been a little bit slower than normal here tonight. So we're trying to get to the goal, and you only have, I think it's $2 becomes the super freak at the top of the screen. Yeah, I don't really understand. I don't understand the whole story, Bama Forever, to be honest with you. Thank you, Wendy Johnson. I always get nervous doing those stories because I'm always like, here we go. Here comes the punishment for Gray. He can't just talk about whatever he wants. It's going to get a lot of angry people in there. Thanks, Wendy Johnson. Right, when joking is over, can we do Michael Peterson? Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean when joking's over. What does that mean? Thanks, Eugenie. You would have been the super freak, except Wendy Johnson snuck in there right before that. Oh, and look at that. Ashy Snow gifted a membership. So, Stacy, are you still in there? What do you think about that? Kind of a crazy dilemma, isn't it? I don't have a moral dilemma with putting them in prison. But you have to kind of look at it like, this is a very strange set of circumstances here. You can't really say malice murder because the child wasn't alive. Didn't suffer at all. So where are we left at this point? And I guarantee it, the hospital will say, yes, the baby was technically dead. It had no brain activity. And then they'll go back, once that's proven, they'll say, and they'll do stats like, has there ever been a person come back from a vegetative state? Okay, then they'll say, okay, it wasn't alive then, it was just artificially kept alive. We know what's a really kind of a tragedy here? Yes, Stacy said it's a very interesting dilemma. I think it'll held against them because they didn't answer the door to nurses, etc. Yeah, well, they didn't answer the door, but the baby wasn't really ever alive while it was at home, you see? That's what they'll prove in court. And then once that's proven, what's the charge at that point? I mean, I'm wondering this. When you decide to take a child home on a ventilator, does it then legally make that child alive at that point? When in the hospital, they deemed it's not going to make it, we'll let it go. But as soon as you do it, do you have to sign papers? And so that'll change things a lot if there is something like that. I don't know anything about it. No, but it was only breathing with help. It was dead. Yeah, I mean, it was pumping air in to make the lungs work. It wasn't nothing was working. How do you know the baby wasn't suffering? Because it had no brain activity. Huh? I know, I just told you, American lady. You just said, Gray, how do you know the baby wasn't suffering? Because it had no brain activity. Yeah, it was brain dead vegetative state, yeah. I don't know why you even asked that question, American lady. Did you not pay attention to what we were just listening to with Grady Judd? That seems like a bizarre question. Really crazy, almost. I think it's legally alive if the doctor did not issue a death certificate. Okay, yeah, maybe something like that. I think that's a good point there, Eugenie. Maybe that's the actual answer. I don't know why they were allowed to take the baby home. There's been other people that have said, we don't want you to do it, we don't want you to do it, and then the baby sits there on the child sits there on a ventilator for a long, long time. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's disgusted by what the parents did, and there's got to be a way to put them in prison for a long time because of it. But I really don't understand questions like, how do you know it didn't suffer? I would say that a baby that's 6 months old that's aborted definitely suffered when you killed it. I would say that, but this kid here had no brain activity whatsoever. Okay? Yeah. I think the baby should have left in the had been left in the hospital. Yeah, maybe. I think there'll be an argument whether it could feel or not. Yeah, well, that will be the argument, but they already said it was brain dead. And that was, well, actually, did we ever finish this? Hold on. I think there's more to it. Hold on. I think there was more to it. The question and answering portion I wanted you guys to hear. Hold on a second. Here, I'll move it back to that portion.
You know, we have a lot of press conferences. The right decisions have and suffered and suffered.
Yeah, he keeps saying suffered and suffered, but then, you know, then when the hospital was going to kill it, did it suffer then too? Or?
Yeah, you know what we know.
The other children, do they appear to be in good health?
The other children appear to be in good health.
Sheriff, beyond what the legal system can exact on these two, what do they deserve?
Well, the legal system can only...
He's not, Tina. See, Tina, you're doing your emotional thing here. When he says he suffered and suffered, at what point was he suffering if he has no brain activity? Can you explain that to me, please? Yes, see, here's the thing, everybody. If I try to have a rational conversation, you get people like American Lady and Tina in here saying, oh, yeah. We've already showed that the baby had no brain activity. What the parents did was barbaric, and they should be put in prison just for doing something like that, right? However, the state was going to kill the child. Had any time, was it possible that the parents could have driven the baby to the hospital and said, we can't do this anymore. Can you check to see if there's any chance again? And they would have said, we don't think so. And they would have let it die in the hospital because it wasn't alive at all, this baby. Okay? It just wasn't. So what I'm trying to figure out is why can't we just look at it like that and see what kind of charges you think they might get?
We do what the legal system can do. But God's not happy.
No, it's not exactly, Tina. I know that you want it to be like
do.
that, Tina, but it's just not.
There's no way, no ability to imagine the torture this child.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I do agree with the money part. That's what I said earlier. I think they did it for the money, and they knew that the child wasn't even alive. They were just going to pump oxygen into his lungs and keep getting the money from the state. That's what I said early on. That wasn't something new that you just came up with.
I'm not exactly sure how to...
Yes, the baby was dead, okay? Its brain wasn't working. The hospital already determined that, okay? So when they took it home, they just wanted to keep it on a ventilator irrationally. We've seen that before, right? Man, yeah, I wish you guys could think a little bit, I don't know, man. It's frustrating as hell is what it is.
But is there any part of you that says at least the child appears to have been unconscious for this entire time?
The indication to us is the child...
Yeah, so you think it's alive when its brain doesn't work anymore. Has absolutely no brain function at all. But, okay. So anyways, here's the comment right here.
Have been unconscious.
100%. These guys are nuts.
The indication to us is the child has been comatose from the very beginning, to the point there was no...
Yeah, they sat there and tried to work on something. It had no brain activity, and it was sepsis. So it wasn't going to live.
Reaction.
Okay, good. Okay, so good. So here's the thing, everybody. Everybody in here that's outraged and thinks it was alive, I hope you're all against abortion. Every single one of you. If any one of you in here that's saying, oh, it's always alive, I want it to be, then you're an absolute hypocritical person if you aren't for if you're not anti-abortion. If you are pro-choice, then you are a hypocrite. If you're sitting here telling me that this person right here, that it was a life at this point, okay? The baby that's inside somebody at 6 months old has a brain that's working and feels pain.
Child couldn't even blink his eyes.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get good.
So
Nicky Zubs.
my prayer would be
It's
that
different
the
grades.
child
No,
was
how?
in a deep enough
It's actually worse the other
state
way.
that he wasn't aware that was of what.
Okay, so look at.
my-
So remember a few minutes ago when he said the child suffered and suffered and suffered. Now let's at the answer.
to the point there was no reaction. The child couldn't even blink his eyes. So my prayer would be that the child was in a deep enough state that he wasn't aware of what was happening to him.
Yeah, well, that was your prayer would be, but the doctor actually said that.
But I don't know that.
No, I'm not American lady. Sorry for your
They were
ignorance.
concerned about DCF taking the other children away. Do you know of any other interactions with DCF over the years that they've had, or that'd be their first introduction?
I would be hesitant to release the DCF information.
Exactly. They said that the child was it was brain dead in a coma state, even though that's not correct to say that.
And I think once before they had an investigation way back in the day, but nothing significant.
So is there?
They're caring because they took it home, and I think that was the mistake. First of all, that was the original mistake. The child should have just been let die right there in the hospital, right? But then the parents took it home, and I don't know if their original decision was for the financial gain of it, because how would you even know that right at that second? But then they were getting this money, and then they were like, screw this sucks. But they just let the kid sort of rot away inside the house like monsters, but it was never alive the whole time. I mean, you guys get that part, right? Like, it was completely brain dead.
Chance that these children will be removed from?
Well, first off,
that
they
they're
have
in
to
jail?
be removed because they're
Hey, everybody, if I do a poll and I lose the poll, I'm wrong.
in jail. And
Oh,
ultimately, our
God.
goal is to
Because
send
polls are great. I could be right, but because it's an emotional conversation, I won't win. Whatever I come up with isn't going to win. I'm trying to get you to think logically and reasonably, but it never happens in cases with kids. People get irrational because of their emotions take over. It happens every single time. I'm trying to do something where you guys can think through it, think about it, try to figure out, like, wait, yeah, that is weird. So the child was technically brain dead, meaning it's only kept alive by artificial means, and it's there, and the hospital was just going to let it die right there because there was no brain function anymore. And so the parents decided, well, we'll take it home and keep it on the same artificial respiration, and they let it die very barbarically, okay, over time while they were getting money from the state. Okay, that part is horrible, right?
these folks to prison for just as long as we can send them to prison. And then from there, God's got to take over. But I've never seen it.
Yeah, I agree with Grady
Judd
Judd on everything except the part when he said that the brain dead child was suffering. If there's a soul out there looking down on it, maybe it was feeling bad at what happened, but there was no brain activity. It's sort of like being on propofol or some shit. I mean, you're completely unaware of anything going on, and I think that's what's going to happen in court. It was when they sent the baby home, the baby felt there was no brain activity at all. There's very little chance the child felt any pain at any time because it wasn't alive. His brain activity wasn't working. Do you understand that? How come that just can't be like something we all just get?
Not words to describe this.
Let me ask you this. Nobody would have been outraged if they just let it die at the hospital, right?
You think in this world...
Yeah, this is what always happens in here. See, here's the thing, everybody. I agree that the parents are barbarians and monsters for allowing that to happen. What I'm talking about is the court case, that your emotions aren't allowing you to have a rational conversation about it. This happens every single time there's something like this. These kind of things are always the same. Every single time we talk about it, there isn't, I totally agree, it's going to be abuse of a corpse or something like that, but they'll give them extra prison time for some other thing. Like maybe there's an egregious angle of that. Sorry, Gray, I don't think as hard as we try we could ever make sense of it. Yeah, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm talking about the court case. I think what the parents did was barbaric. Everybody, try to pay attention. It's really kind of simple stuff. It's not, I'm not trying to confuse anybody or anything like that. I'm 100% with you guys on the fact that everybody hates them, and I hate them, and I think they're barbarian monsters for allowing that to happen at their house. What I'm talking about is when it gets to court. Okay, now let me ask you this. If you're somebody that thinks that that child should, that it was alive and they should get punished for it, are all of you saying that pro-life people? I hope so. Because that's the same story. That's why I said it's very similar. Okay, so when you're sitting there going, yeah, I don't mind if somebody goes and, they're 5-6 months pregnant, they go and get an abortion. Yeah, it's okay. But that child in there felt something. They were in pain when the doctor snipped it apart and did the things that they do. Okay? They were in pain. And yet it's okay. We just look the other way because it's just, I think that's sicker. Okay? So let's kind of figure out something there. Maybe earlier, 2-3 months maybe. Let's see. Court case might put hospital to some... I don't know. How could it... Well, yeah, for sending the child home. It does seem odd. I got to agree with Amber up there. I don't think now that I was thinking back, those other cases you see out there that the child stays in the hospital. Yeah, I do too. I think you should not be able to take home care of a vegetative state child. I think that's ludicrous. What kind of... what were the parents supposed to do at home? Like, just sit there? What if something goes wrong? I really don't even understand it, to be honest with you. That part of it. But I just don't like how everybody gets so angry, if you don't agree. It's the comments back like, you're wrong, Gray. Well, really? Let's see what happens when it gets to court. And I'm not saying, ooh, I'm so happy that it'll be some weirder, lower charge because it'll be proven that it wasn't a life, and then therefore it was desecration of a corpse, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, it's just unfortunate. Here's the thing. Would you have rather had the child be just a sick kid at home that had no brain damage? Or that was actually awake and alive when this happened? I think it would be so much worse. This kid wasn't alive. Okay, now I say alive means your brain's functioning. It was a complete flat line. Brain wasn't working anymore, and they just merely kept it alive artificially. Now, the part that really sucks too is that at the time they could have donated organs like the heart and kidneys and different elements to various other children out there that could have used it and lived productive lives. Instead, they chose to take it home and let it rot away and whatever you want to call it. It was already dead, but it just withered away at home. Yeah, I don't know if it's... I don't know how you blame the hospital on this, but... I'm not angry. Well, American ladies should read what you write. Do a poll, you're wrong! Okay, I'm just mad reading what you're writing. Doesn't make any sense. Because if I did a poll, I'm sure I would lose because people are emotional. They're not thinking about rationally what's going on here. It's weird how many times I've explained it. Who said she wasn't, Jim? I'm just arguing today with American Lady. Tomorrow it'll be, hey, American Lady, how's it going? That's just the way it is in here. I can't always be perfect, but these kind of topics always create problems. I only wanted to talk about this for like 10 minutes. Now we've wasted like 40 minutes on it. And it should have been something kind of simple like, yeah, this is going to be a weird court case. I can tell you that, man. When they get to court, it's going to be really strange because it's going to come down to, you know, I mean, I don't know what all the legal issues are. Once they took it home, did that mean something? That they were responsible for what? It wasn't a life, according to the hospital. It was a brain-dead body being fed oxygen. Right. Let's see. Anyways, yeah, I think it's interesting. It just gets, I don't like how it gets kind of sort of like there's teams that develop. I agree, everybody. Hey, yeah. Just think through it. Huh? They got to check. What's your opinion? I don't know what your opinion is. Thanks, Jim Lawn. I think tonight's going to be a slow one because I'm on the minority side again. They think it's going to be a death penalty case, and I can't agree less. I think it'll be no chance in hell that this is a death penalty case. In fact, I'm not even sure they'll call it a murder. You know? Let's see. I don't even know what Lillian said. They got a check my opinion. I don't know what that means. Am I supposed to look somewhere? Or? Yeah, I don't see it. Sorry. You have to type it in again or something. I'm sure they had to be taught. Yeah, they had to be taught how to keep the machine pumping, how to clean the body so it didn't get infected and so forth. They apparently didn't do any of those things. He said that the child sits there and doesn't even blink. It's not there anymore. Thank God, actually. Thank God. Anyways, how about this? I'll play this for myself, okay? You guys can laugh at me like I'm a clown. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, there you go. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Right, but Lillian, we said that right from the beginning. I said that right as it was playing on the press conference about the check. I think that they wanted money. At some point, it was all about the money, and then they got really tired, just like Grady Judd said, about taking care of the you know, if you want to call it a child at that point. I mean, it wasn't really alive. Like, it's almost, I would almost want to say that he was taking care of the body. I know you did, American lady. Where is it? Hold on. But here's the thing. Don't you guys think this is similar to my... remember the contest we had when we had the poem, where you had to write the poem using the Rockabye Baby music? You remember that one? Yeah, for people, like you're having a party and somebody overdoses, and your first thought is to chop them up and put them into bags and throw their bodies somewhere because you didn't want the cops to find them. Well, that's exactly like this. I mean, it's just, it's insane. That's the same feeling I've got with them, that if you have the ability, even though it's not a living being, you're just pumping oxygen into this body, but if you have the ability to allow it to get to that stage, you're a barbarian. And there should be some sort of law out there regarding that. You know, like, let's say it's absolutely true that somebody died at your party, they drank a lot of beer, they fell down, everybody saw it, they hit their head, and then later they passed out, and then you chop their body up. It shouldn't just be desecration of a corpse. It should be something else, because somebody that has the ability to do that should have some other level there. Like maybe call it, have levels of desecration of a corpse. Like, desecration of a corpse, meaning you took the body and you dumped it. That would be the first one. But if you sit there and chop it up, put it in the bags, move it all over the place, that's where you get something else called something like gross desecration of a corpse, where you can get like 10 to 15 years in prison. Because I really don't want people sitting around in society that have the ability to, oh my God, do you see that? Jim died over there. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, go get that hacksaw really quick. Yeah.
There's not words to explain this. There's not words to describe this. You think...
How about extreme, gross desecration of a corpse?
In this world we live in, it's impossible.
Well, gross means extreme in this case.
For parents or anyone to treat a child like this. They let this baby lay in that bed and rot to death.
Are you able to look at the pictures?
All of them.
Oh, there we go.
The
See, look at,
pictures
see,
were
American lady? Look at this,
horrific.
American lady. Check it out. I could have done a poll. Gross negligence. Oh, wait, hold on. You got to see it on the screen. So you could just put in desecration of a corpse. Is representing an extreme departure from ordinary standard of care.
It was even more horrific for my detectives and supervisors.
It means extreme.
Who were there.
Gross does.
And had the horrible stench to go along with it. It is just, there's no words to explain it.
I'm not doing a poll.
And I've seen some really bad stuff.
Well, tell me what question you want me to ask, and I'll do the poll.
Never seen anything like this.
How about that? Yeah, American lady, you write in the poll question, and you type in the poll question you want, Zozo, and I'll type it in.
You will never unsee this.
Okay. Do most people in here think this is murder? Honestly? That's where I don't see it. I don't see this as murder. Okay? I'm sorry. I see it as something barbaric and heinous. Right? Well, you might see it that, Eugenie, because you think there'll be some law that when they take it home, but you don't think a brain-dead child, it's murder, right? I mean... Okay, so let me ask you something. So again, we're back to an abortion equivalence here. So for the people who are saying yes, it's murder, when the hospital would have let it die, would that have been murder? Go ahead. At the hospital, when they said, "Hey, we're just going to let it die here," would that have been murder? Because they didn't help it. Go ahead. No, not. I don't think legally it was murder. I think it'll turn out that it's not. Go ahead. I want somebody to answer. Why not? So I want people that just said, yes, it's murder, but if the hospital let it die, it's not. How come? That makes no sense. I'm sorry.
You will never unsee this.
Hello and welcome to the most controversial show we've had in about...
Feel overwhelmed.
2 days.
I mean, this is an extreme case. I get that. But what do you say to parents out there who may be feeling overwhelmed with a child who has special needs or other very difficult obstacles?
I don't see it.
Well, parents who feel overwhelmed, who have children that
punishments for parents, life or death. Give me a break.
For them,
jeez, that's too extreme.
There's help. You only have to reach out. We live in a wonderful state. We live in a wonderful community. We live in a wonderful country. No child has to be left in this condition. No child. And we deal with a lot of death because parents won't take care of children or are negligent. I've never seen anything like this, and this is just my supposition. I told you. They were just tired of the baby. And well, what do we do now?
Mm-hmm. I think this will be something totally different than this.
It's bad. We'll see you on the next one. I'll promise you it won't be as
Yeah.
bad as this one.
I mean, what they let that child do at home is
No
one
matter
of the
how
worst things
bad
I've
it
ever
is.
seen, but it wasn't alive. It
Take
was
care.
brain dead. Yeah, so it's it wasn't like, yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be something totally different than what Grady is portraying it might be here. So hold on a second. I'll be back in a second. So her question was, I don't want to put life in there because life is also part of lesser. I'm just saying, is it death penalty or lesser than that? That's a better way to phrase the question. What are you talking about? Why would I need to put life on there? It's just something lesser than the death penalty. And I'm shocked that 22% even said the death penalty. I think it's just shows too much emotion in your brain. Because even if the court, here's what would happen. Even if the court determines it to be murder, the mitigating circumstances of the likelihood of the child not suffering at all, there will be no death penalty here. This will not be a death penalty case. I don't think it'll ever even get there. I think it might even, we don't even know what the charges will be later. Okay, so we're charged with aggravated manslaughter. So that's not even in the same, it's not even a murder. I don't know. I think it's going to start, even negotiations are going to lower it, which sucks because they're horrible people. I just try to look at things more reasonable without putting emotions into it, even though these parents are barbarians. I hope that's okay, you know. Anyways, I didn't put your life because what was the point of life? I said either the death penalty or something lesser, which includes life or something less. Maybe we need to know how and why the baby was able to accidentally drown in the first place. Ah, jeez. Oh yeah, so they made it accidentally drown so they could put it on a respirator to get monthly checks? I doubt it. Yeah. Yeah. It's cruel if they're suffering. That's where cruelty comes in. See, that's where I want people to think through things without the emotional element first. Okay? Just like in Travis's case, it was cruelty with, you know, if he suffered from the knife wound or the gunshot. See, they even did special cruelty because he would have suffered. And that's why they wanted to be knife first in that case. But in this case, can you prove that the child suffered? Yes, they had horrendous wounds on this body, but the person, if you will, the brain, was not there anymore. What do you mean, wow, whatever? Can you think through something? I mean, it's just unbelievable. How am I arguing from emotion if I believe that the state will consider it murder? I haven't even read one comment you made, Revengeance. Yeah, maybe they'll consider it murder. But I think it's going to be a hard way to prove that it was murder when the state already deemed it not alive. Don't you think? No, I really do, American lady. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been doing this a long time. You seem like you're just a little unhinged today or something. I'm not sure what's going on. The parents will be found not guilty. Then they will sue the hospital who released the child to them for... No, I don't believe that. Yeah, well, they kept the baby breathing artificially, though. So the baby itself was never breathing. It wasn't alive. Okay? It'd be like shooting somebody in the brain, and their brain blew out, but there was just that little tiny lizard part of your brain that was still working, and they just pump oxygen into your lungs, and the rest of your body, it still pump blood around, and so forth. Okay, well, I shouldn't have put the story up there for the people that can't think through things without getting too emotional. That's why we have the trigger bunny at the beginning of it. If you can't do it, I almost said, we're going to discuss this rationally, what you think might be the actual charges based on the information, and think through it. But if you can't do it, then do something else, okay? I forgot to say that, though, because this is similar to other cases that we don't discuss anymore, like Gabby Petito and other ones like that. It gets too crazy. People can't just stop and go, okay, wow, let me think about this. The child was in the hospital. The hospital itself deemed the child brain dead, and it would die without having a breathing apparatus, meaning it won't have blood in blood won't pump, and it will have no oxygen going through its body. Okay, it's not alive. It's literally the only thing keeping this child alive is an artificial means. There is no ability for this child to live, and let's just take it off and it'll die peacefully right here. And the parents said, no, I don't want to do that. We want to take it home, and we'll just keep pumping the same artificial oxygen into its lungs. And then they let the child's body wither away in a horrific way, like barbarians, okay? But the child itself wasn't alive, and was likely, very, very likely, wasn't suffering. I don't know why that was something that people say, how do you know it wasn't suffering? Because the hospital said so. You think they would let a child die in the hospital if they thought, oh, wow, it's suffering right here? It wasn't even alive at that point. So, anyways, we'll just go ahead and play the trigger bunny again. Or is it too late for the trigger bunny? It's too late for the trigger bunny. No, the story unhinged you. My opinion shouldn't unhinge you. I don't look at this as the same as an unborn child here. Yeah, I don't think of it as like the same as an unborn child. I'm way more upset in the sort of lackadaisical opinions of people about abortion. Just sort of like, yeah, it's a women's right. Yeah, forget it. Forget it. Let's just, we'll just leave it at that. No more conversation. That unhinges me more. This is one where the child wasn't alive, right? Yeah, the child wasn't alive, and it's brain dead. You get that part, right? It would have no chance of ever communicating with a soul for the rest of its life. And that being said, it doesn't excuse anything that the parents did. It just means there was no suffering. Therefore, where do you get the malice murder for capital punishment? Where was the... it might not even be murder, depending on, like maybe what Eugenie's saying. If it turns out that it's legally a murder because by taking it home, they sort of made it a sanctioned being or something. I don't know how that works. But I think in court you could totally make the argument that how come the hospital didn't think it was a living being And we just merely kept it going the same way the hospital was. And then eventually the body died, but there was no brain activity the whole time, and hence there was no suffering. And therefore it was just sort of like we were keeping a corpse filled with oxygen and blood. This isn't the same as other... I don't know why this is sort of like this thing where it's bad. My opinion is some sort of this unethical opinion. I really don't understand that. To me, it's absolutely makes complete sense what I'm saying here. And I don't know how it doesn't make sense to other people. Right. You think it'll just purely come down to the death certificate? But I think in court, I think they'll change it a little bit. I mean, I see what you're saying about that. But when they get to court, they'll have battles over, well, was it really a life, though? Because the hospital was going to just let it go, right? Yeah, but you get really sort of defensive about it. So that's why I think that you think it's something really weird. See, here's the thing is I'm not going to just be like everybody else. Like, I have the same anger you do towards the parents. I'm just merely looking at the legal side after the fact. Can everybody else try to do that? Thank you. I have the same outrage towards the parents. Does that help you? I definitely... I feel like they should get the death penalty. If it was a living being, like if it was an actual child that they literally tortured and let it sit there like that, I would death penalty for sure. But this is a child that had been deemed not alive, and I'm not sure why I have to keep repeating myself. It's so obvious. It's just, yeah. Hit that like button, everybody. Great timing there, Scouting Dude. I'm sure that one just got pummeled. Yeah. Oh, you don't believe it, doctor? Okay, well, I mean, here's the thing: is I don't disrespect, that you guys are so much more angry about it. I just about the legal part of it. I have the same anger as to the parents. Like I said, I think they're absolute barbarians. I mean, who the hell would even allow that? To me, it seems like somebody that would allow that, you start wondering, how close are they to doing that to one of their kids that's just living around in the house? But apparently they're all really healthy. So they thought of this kid as a cash cow and merely seemed like they wanted to keep it alive to get their paychecks every month. And that was it. Anyways, I know it's a hard time to ask, but if we could try to get the goal to turn in tonight's show, even though you hate my guts for my opinion and the way I'm trying to work through this like a rational person. Yeah, I think the money angle makes it shitty, but it doesn't change the element of like what was the status of the life of the child there. Oh, there we go. Let's see how it works. I got thrown in jail for the first time in a long time. Will I even get out of here? I have a feeling it's going to... So anyways, it was 75% something lesser, meaning it could be life in prison or something less than that. I think it's going to be much less than that. I think it's going to be... Yeah, I'm going to be in here for a long time. We might not even do a show. That's right. Oh, look at that. KK was like saying I'm going to rot in here. Jeez. And nobody's even going to want to send one because it's like, you're supporting somebody that doesn't think they should get the death penalty? God. Yeah. Well, because the money has nothing to do with anything for vengeance. I mean, it just means that, they wanted to keep the baby on the ventilator just to, keep getting the money from the state. That doesn't mean that the baby was still alive and it was murdered, right? So it could be what Eugenie's saying, that the death certificate wasn't signed at the hospital, therefore the child's deemed still alive, and then it might come down to something where it's murder, but it's not malice murder because the child didn't feel anything at the time. Thanks, Cindy J. What do you get me a Snickers bar at the cantina there? Ah, look at that. Oh, well, thanks, American lady. I don't mind having these heated debates like this. Okay, I mean, I actually appreciate it. So Cindy, an American lady who she's in here all the time. I think she's even you watch the Arius trial and stuff too, right? I mean, Nikki Zubz. Okay, who else has a poll question here? I'll put it up there for you. Go ahead. Any poll questions? Ask a poll question that is, something different than one we already asked. Yeah, I don't know why they took the baby home either. Some people just can't give up right away like that. But after a while, they were probably like, hey, we're getting those checks every month. And then they realized there's no reward or something for the baby. It's not alive. It's just sort of... you have a theory. It's allowed. Thinking outside the box. We still can do Thanksgiving dinner. That's that's right. That's right. Yeah, we could. Here, I gotta get you guys in the. I'll do Zozo's question here in a second. Let me just get these into the spin. Thanks, David Hughes, my half brother. Look at that. Yeah. No, I think you guys are all awesome. You guys keep me on my toes, It's sort of a... Okay. So what was the one that... Let me find Zozo's again. Or I'll ask it up here. Okay. See, that's a hard one to ask because people will want to say it was alive merely because a machine was pumping oxygen in. But yeah, we'll go ahead and ask it anyways. All right. Let me end this one up here. No, oops. Was. All right. There you go. There's that one. She did ruin Oh Holy Night. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. You guys bailed me out. Wow.
I'm still wondering what the gigawatt is.
I don't know, Jim Long. I don't know. We had to make the call to pull the plug on my mom. Yeah. I mean, I want to ask, but with your mom, Cindy, was her brain just like it just wasn't firing? There was nothing there, no activity, just flatline stuff? Oh, I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if I worded it. Was the baby dead or alive? Well, just yes, it was alive. No, no, it was dead. Was the baby dead or alive? No, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah, you know what we're saying. Hold on, let me end this one. You're the one that asked the question, though, Zozo. Maybe type it in better. I just cut and pasted it. There we go. Doing it again. Thanks, Tina Susser. Let's see.
_basic generous _basic generous _basic generous _basic generous.
Right. I think most people in here agree with what I'm saying. However, the people that are vocal and talking and over again are the people that are more emotionally and sort of just upset by it and are typing in more. Because right there at the top, see the poll question up there? It said, this one was the child alive? And the answer is, out of 63 votes so far, 65% said no. So if that is true, and it turns out where the child isn't alive, then how can the parents get anything in the realm of murder charged against them? And it sounds like it's a manslaughter charge currently, but you would almost think a good attorney could start whittling that away down to where, hey, you know, the parents just had hope. The hospital had already deemed this child had no chance to live. They had hope and took it home, and then their behavior was abhorrent. Yes, however, the child did not suffer because it had no brain activity, and it was really just a corpse that they were keeping alive. So how about desecration of, and see what I'm saying? It's you start moving down into a whole different realm at that point. I guarantee it, though. The parents out there that really do keep the person alive and they take care of it every day and they have hope and hope and hope. If somebody walked into their house and hit the child in the head with an axe or something, they would believe that it was murdered, even though it was already brain dead. And I don't know if interestingly, you almost think the society would even be more angry at something like that for some reason. I don't know. I don't think so, but yeah, because it wasn't their choice, I'm not sure. What would that make it? Would that be worse for you? Let's say that this family was loving towards this kid in the house, keeping it alive, and then somebody else came in and randomly just murdered. Well, would it be murder, though, since it was already brain dead? But I think more people would be, I don't know, it's sort of a strange twist to it. I guess we'll forget that part of it. I mean, the thing is something like that should be left to naturally happen. Once the child was deemed to be brain dead, it should be part of the state where you don't keep it alive artificially. That shit wasn't even invented till recently, and there's no chance for it to come around. So the rule should be there's no brain activity, there's no chance of brain activity. There won't be a ventilator here. And if somehow the child survives without the ventilator here, we'll, maintain support. But if it passes away, then it just is what it is. I mean, I guess I think that's just crazy when, I understand the emotions. Like if you have a child that you would want to do everything you could and you're just not going to accept that they died. This case is weird. It doesn't seem like they intentionally were like, yeah, let's take it home so we can get some money. Although, I wonder if there was a conversation in there saying, well, we don't want to do it. If we take it home, is there any help for us? Oh, yes, we'll pay for that. And by the way, we can send you. So if that was an element on the original decision, then, that makes their behavior a little bit more nefarious, like fraud even. Maybe you can get them on fraud charges. Do you still like me, American lady? Let's see. Yeah. The gray is the question we should be discussing. That gray. What gray? What do you mean, that gray? Hey, look at that. Norma Jean just gifted 5 memberships to Chris. You guys just had to join the channel of the Barbarian. JJ, Just Deb. Make sure to check those accounts and make sure that they're all really new ones. Let's see. I'll do a poll question. So the answer was no up there. Well, I don't need to. I'm just going to say it. Don't most of us think that your brain is what gives a person life? Like if your brain was, let's say somebody removed the brain from your body and somehow you're able to pump your lungs and have oxygen flowing around inside your blood, would you consider that a living person? Like literally you remove the entire brain, but you have them on a heart-lung machine where it pumps blood and it pumps their heart. Would you consider that life? Right, I think most people would say no to what I just said, right? So there shouldn't be a difference that there happens to be the physical brain sitting there. It just was cut off from oxygen so long it doesn't work anymore. You get it? So just because the brain's sitting there, it's the same effect. There is no activity. It's not working ever again because it was cut off and starved and the brain died. So whether it's sitting there or not shouldn't make a difference. Wasn't that a pretty good argument right there? So I like how I worked that better that time. Right, that's why the hospital was going to let it die, though, Zozo, because it's already dead. It just pumps the heart. Your question is a strange one, I have to admit. Does a dead person need care? No. Right, they didn't, but the care, when you're saying, does it need care, it wasn't... I don't think it's a good point at all, Esther. You just like it because it supports what you think. Like does a dead person need care? Well, the hospital decided it didn't need care, but they allowed the family to take it home just to keep pumping the same oxygen in there. It's like it's not working at all. It's artificially being run. Do you understand that? So you could say that about anything. I mean, I guess it's no different than you take a car that doesn't work and you roll it down a hill and say, see, it works. But it doesn't start. Well, but no, it's running right now. You know, look at that. You push it down the hill and it's moving and you can steer it and everything. Oh, look at this, look at that. But it doesn't really even work. You just put it in neutral. So it doesn't mean the car works. It just means that you're keeping it working because you keep running it down a hill. No, that's not a good one there, Jeff. That's not a good one. There's people that are on life support that brain's still working. They're just highly traumatized. This is somebody whose brain activity was not working. It's not called life support. Okay, anyways, I think that's about it for me. Do you think we can switch on to something else, or will the anger keep going? Yeah, I mean, you could say that it's technically alive but brain dead. So technically alive meaning you're artificially creating the life word that you used. Okay? You know, so when you say technically alive, yeah, because they're artificially doing that. Okay, good. Oh, thank God, you guys. Thank God. I gotta get the hell out of this. All right, here's a cold case from 1982. Very short one. It's pretty interesting, though. I was looking at this. Hold on a second. So right here it says robbery suspect in Augusta slaying. Authorities say robbery was the apparent motive in the shooting death last week of 35-year-old Augusta businesswoman An autopsy revealed that Betty Jo Lackey, co-owner of BJ Designs T-Shirtly Shack, died from a single gunshot wound to the back of the head. This is 1982, May 30th article, but she died, it was the week before, so probably like May 20-something. Thank you, Wendy Johnson. Her body was discovered in her store Thursday afternoon by a clerk from a nearby package store. The victim's husband, Steve Lackey, told authorities he became concerned after his telephone calls to the store went unanswered. He said he called the package store to ask someone to check on his wife. Sheriff officials said robbery was the apparent motive in the shooting. With an undisclosed amount of money taken from the store, authorities at first had difficulty determining if money had been taken because the store had no cash registers. The money reportedly had been stored in various places inside the store. Yeah, so anyways, you hear that, and then just now, hold on. Oh, God, Windows 11 with this crazy, oh man, it just did it on the other screen over here too. Oh my God, really? Hold on.
Thank you, Gray, for my blue book. I heart it.
Who said that? I don't even see that one. Who said that? Oh, right there. Wendy Johnson, all right. Yeah, it says nearly 41 years later, a man has been arrested and charged with murder in a 1982 cold case that left one woman dead. That was the only article I could find, by the way. What happened, Cindy? I don't like Gray anymore. He said a brain-dead person wasn't alive, that bastard.
Chewbacca? Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
Oh boy.
On Thursday, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office interviewed 58-year-old Jeffrey Dion Mickens in reference to the case. Wow, so, what, was he 16 at the time? 41 years ago, and he's 58, so 17 years old at the time. Dion Mickens, in reference to the case, Mickens is reportedly homeless. Investigators were able to find probable cause to charge Mickens in the 1982 murder of Betty Jo Lackey. On May 27, 1982, 34-year-old Lackey was shot and killed during an armed robbery at BJ Designs T-Shirtly Shack at 3217 Waterboro Road. I wonder what that looks like. Let me just get a visual on that. In Augusta, right? Thank you, Peter. Anyways, thanks for still supporting the channel even during frustrating times. All right. Oh, okay, so she's worked right over here. What was the name of it? T-shirt design. So it was in this building here. One of these. I'm not sure which one it would be, but. So it says Mickens is currently in custody in Webster Detention Center. He is charged with murder, armed robbery of a business, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. The investigation is reportedly ongoing. No further information will be released. So boom, it's amazing. That doesn't sound like I mean, they didn't mention DNA in there at all. So you sort of wonder if, just old detective work, they solved an old case. But you never know. So you got that one. Then we also have this one here, and this one's actually, I think it's in Alabama. Sheriff released body description in, hold on, I think I have this. Yeah, it's right over here. Is that right? Yeah. So this article was in the paper back in 1997. Pretty gruesome here. Apparently, though, if they were able to, he was still alive if they could have just connected a artificial lungs and a heart pump. A description of a mutilated body found near Arab last week had been released by Marshall County Sheriff Department. The body is that of a white male, 20 to 30 years of age, about 5'9", weighing about 150 pounds with sandy reddish hair, authorities said. The body, which was reportedly headless and handless, was found Tuesday morning in a creek off Eagle Rock Drive. So this is Eagle Rock Drive right here, and there's a creek right there, and that looks like it's about 3 miles from this town over here northwest, so I'm thinking that it was just right there. There's no street view, so I can't really take a look at it, but there's a creek right there running underneath that road, and that's the same road, so I think it was right there out in the middle of nowhere, really. See that? Wait, I got a poll question for you again on the last one. Hold on. Shoot. All right, here we go. I want to see how rational people are here. Here's the question. Revengeance, you seem really like uptight tonight. Really sort of. Well, it's a. See, here's the crazy part: is there's 19% yes on a question like that. You know, it hadn't been deemed dead yet. They kept it alive. Would you still be doing life-saving measures on that? See, basically, when you're brain dead, it's as if your head isn't even on you. You know what I mean? All right. And look at that. 15% of people said yes. I mean, give me a freaking break. But Gray! There's Cindy. You guys are amazing. Oh, I see. The soul is the heart. I get it. Look at Zozo. See, but my questions make you think a little differently, right? Don't they kind of make you go, yeah, that's sort of interesting. You know. It's not ridiculous, American lady. It's the truth. If you can keep somebody alive with a heart and lung machine, even without a head, why isn't that the same thing? Because you're just talking about, oh, there you can physically see them all. That's great. Because it matches what Zozo said earlier about, well, do you take care of a dead body?
Chewbacca?
Because it's technically possible, I'm sure.
Love your channel and stubborn ways. Wouldn't change it.
Hey, I just like you guys to think about stuff. I know it's extreme, but it's true, right? I mean, it's absolutely the same thing. When you're brain dead, it's as if your head doesn't matter at that point anymore. You can actually be fed intravenously, which probably, I'm sure they feed through a tube with somebody with a head, but you can feed somebody intravenously. Maybe wire it so when it kind of loops back around inside the body. I don't know. Come on, why is that a crazy question, American lady? It's true. Uh-huh. That doesn't make any sense. Have you? I mean, because if you voted, look it up, look above, American lady. Look what the poll numbers are. 21% of the people said yes. So was it really that bad of a poll question? Or does the 21% represent the number of trolls that are in the... Yes, RoboCop, right. Yeah, what about RoboCop, basically, right? I mean, he just had... his brain was the only thing I think he had... Well, his face was still there. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. God, that was a good imitation. I'm pretty sure that somebody somewhere has a headless body that sleeps with... Oh, God, that's... Come on, Sarah. It is a calm and takeoff life support. Wait. Loved one is a calm. What's that? That was a perfect one. Dead or alive, you're coming. That's exactly what he said. Come on, watch. I'm going to play it. Where is it? Hold on a second. Let's see. RoboCop. Dead or alive, you're coming. There it is right there. All right, here we go.
What do you say we...
When does he say it? Come on.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Oh, that was perfect. I did it perfectly. It sounded just like that. Listen, do it again. Here we go. Listen. Listen.
Go ahead, do it. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
That was exactly the same. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Come on! That was about as good as you can get. Even Zozo has to admit it. Oh, that was perfect. You know what? I'm going to have to get that as a sound effect. I forgot about that one. No, I did it. Come on. You know that was pretty good. You were probably like, "Ooh, shit, that was pretty good." I know. I gotta do that one, Esther, as a sound effect. Hey, I think you guys are all awesome, okay? I mean, American lady, all of you. I don't mind that you're like, "Oh God, Gray, you're crazy." As long as like the next show or the next case, you're just right back to normal again. Because I do think through stuff. It's not like I actually spent an hour trying to figure out how to talk to you guys about this case. And I even knew that even if I say that the parents are barbarians and they're terrible people, it won't be enough for some. I knew it. And I just wasn't sure how to even get around it. But I like talking about things like that because they make you think a little bit about other things too, right? Dead or alive, you're coming with me. So anyways, let me get back to this one again. All right, so here we go. The body is that of a white male, 20 to 30 years of age, about 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing about 150 pounds, with sandy reddish hair, authorities said. The body, which was reported headless and handless, was found Tuesday morning. So that's usually somebody that doesn't want the person identified, especially back, well, that was only 1997 though. But that was a little bit before people were really thinking about DNA and stuff like that. People, you know, law enforcement was already using it. Headless and handless was found Tuesday morning in a creek off Eagle Rock Drive, about 3 miles northwest of Arab, Alabama. Anyone with information about the case should call the sheriff's office, all right? Well, guess what again? Now this person has been identified, and they're right here. Headless body found in Alabama 26 years ago. Identified as Santa Barbara man, so all the way from California. A mutilated body found in rural Alabama more than 26 years ago has finally been identified as a Southern California man who was missing for years. The body was found on April 15th, 1997, along a creek in Union Grove, Alabama. That was a miracle finding that one article. I looked in that secondary source and there was only one. You know, it was crazy. Investigators identified the remains as that of a white man, but the body had been brutally torn apart with his head, hands, and feet removed. Can you believe that shit? Likely an attempt to make his identification impossible. The man's death was immediately ruled a homicide. Well, hey, that was great detective work to say that was a homicide. It's hard to just jump out of your feet, hands, and head. But because of the body's condition, detectives were never able to positively identify him until now. Thanks to the advancement of DNA technology and years of detective work, the man has been identified as Jeffrey Douglas Kimsey, a Santa Barbara man who disappeared when he was 20 years old. Man, he's a long ways away from home. I wonder if he got on a truck or something. A Marshall County Sheriff's Office said the case never went cold and the detectives pursued dozens of leads but were never able to get to the bottom of who the victim was. But in 2019, the Sheriff's Office contacted Parabon Nanolabs, a genealogy research and DNA technology company, to aid in the investigation. The company utilized a process called DNA phenotyping. That shows you what he looked like. That's not really good. That's a shitty... I mean, the thing is, they're really good on eyes and stuff. But that doesn't look like that guy at all, you know. And how do you know what the head shape is? All that kind of stuff. Yearbook photos of Jeffrey Kimsey compared to the phenotyping image provided by Parabon Nanolabs. Using that information, investigators were able to positively identify the body as Kimsey, bringing an end to a 2 decades-long missing person case. But the story continues. Not only were authorities able to identify the victim, they've also identified multiple people of interest in the case. Wow, that's pretty cool. Detectives are now pursuing... So they must now, when they go back and found who the family was, oh yeah, he went on a trip with, so-and-so, and, maybe now they can look into that. Detectives are now pursuing those new leads and are asking anyone with information related to the time frame around Kimsey's disappearance and murder to come forward. The Sheriff's Office said many of the original detectives assigned to the case are still with the agency, and many of them are eager to see someone finally put behind bars for the crime. And thank you, Nicole, up there, for getting it, and Scoutin' Dude for laughing up there. Thank you very much. At my comment about you can't just jump out of your feet and hands and head at the same time. Being a ghost is okay. You don't have to change clothes. Ah, where's my rim shot? Oh, there it is. Hey, no, wait, not that one. Where the heck is that one? Weird. Is it gone? Do I have another page in there? No.
Don't ask dumbass questions.
Remember that one?
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said?
I gotta get that one. He's so far. I have him so far away on the. Oh, there it is. So where is that one by? Oh yeah, Death Ray said, "Being a ghost is okay. You don't have to change clothes." Well, good, Lane S. All right, good. All right, so it looks like they're on to the investigation on this one. That's pretty cool. Another DNA solved. We got a bunch of these going ourselves. And what's this one? Okay, and then... Oh, yeah, so we have a missing person. There was a missing person case in Oregon and Gresham here. And let's take a look at this here. and if we don't get to the other case, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Yeah, it's 2 hours and 5 minutes already. But Gresham Police is asking for the public's assistance with locating missing 20. So this is back on January 3rd, 2023. Gresham, Oregon. Gresham Police is asking for the public's assistance with locating a missing 22-year-old female, Kristen Smith. She sometimes uses the last name of Reedus. Kristen's family says that she usually checks in with them frequently. They are concerned because she hasn't checked in and they haven't seen her since November 19, 2022, when they saw her in Portland near Mall 205. So let me go to that. So this is Mall 205 in Gresham, Oregon here. Let's see. Okay, so Kristen's family is concerned because she was reportedly in an abusive relationship in the past. Oh, that's not good. They are concerned that she's being prevented from contacting her family. Kristen is described as being 5 foot 2 inches tall, with strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes, and weighs 100 pounds. Attached are recent photos of Kristen. So that's her right there. Anyone who knows of Kristen's whereabouts is asked to call the Gresham Police. And that number then was 503-618-2719. So, got that. And then there was another article that came out. It says, where is Kristen Reedus Smith, Oregon woman, missing for nearly 3 months? So now this is back in January 4th. So it says authorities in Gresham, Oregon are looking for Kristen Reedus, a 22-year-old woman who hasn't been seen in nearly 3 months. Reports aren't exactly clarifying why it took so long to report the Oregon woman missing, but her loved ones have expressed worry about her after going so long without contact. According to KPTV News, Kristen Reedus, who also uses the name Kristen Smith, was last in contact with her family around November 19, 2022. At that time, she was reportedly at Mall 205, a shopping mall in Portland. Nobody has seen or heard from her since that day, which has them worried. They say Kristen never goes long without communicating with them, which means this lengthy pause in contact is out of character. Her family is concerned about her primarily because they claim that she was in an abusive relationship in the past. This comment indicates that they fear for the safety due to this former romantic partner. If their fears are accurate at all, then this missing woman is likely in grave danger. Women who are in abusive relationships tend to be in more danger when they leave their abuser due to the loss of control that drives the abuser into a possessive rage. As this article ascertains, the most dangerous time for a battered woman is when they choose to leave. Yep, I mean, that's totally the reality, right? Kristen Reedus Smith is petite and small-framed with strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes. If you've seen her, call that same number. That's her there. Looks like she's totally different eye stuff going on there, but let's see. Then in February, there's another article here. Gresham family asks for public's help finding 22-year-old missing for 2 months.
Fox tonight, more than 2 months after she went missing in southeast Portland, family members of a Gresham woman are holding on to hope that she will be found. Take a look here. This is 20.
And right here it says a main concern of ours is sex trafficking. We don't know, but with things we've been told or people who know. See, remember the same thing was with Allison Watterson. People would say that.
2-year-old Kristen Smith. Her mom last spoke to her on November 19th. Fox 12's Drew Marine spoke with Kristen's mom tonight, who's hoping for your help finding her daughter. Drew.
Melissa Smith says Kristen was last seen here near Mall 205. Take a look at this flyer they've posted around parts of Portland. Melissa says she likes to wear different wigs, so she may not look exactly like the photo on this flyer, but she has a tattoo of a red butterfly on her right hand.
It is quite like a piece of you is missing.
Each day that passes and Melissa and Haley Smith don't hear from 22-year-old Kristen Smith, they get more concerned she's in danger.
A main concern of ours now is sex trafficking. We don't know, but with things we've been told, or, you know, people that know her are saying it's a possibility, because this is not like her to just disappear.
Kristen's mom, Melissa, last talked to her on November 19th and hasn't had contact with her since. Found Mall 205 in Southeast Portland, but also hangs out in other areas of Portland, too.
Stick and poke on her right hand of an outlining of a red butterfly. So that's a distinctive way to identify her.
Now, they're just waiting for Kristen to come home.
It's horrible. I cannot.
Huh. Well, so that's her, too. Man, she looks like she's gotten a lot
horrible. I can't.
Skinnier lately.
5, take a look. Your held Kristen to hope that she will be found.
You know?
Take a look here. This
5
is
to 100, but over.
Even describe to you what it feels. Identify her.
I wouldn't say she's 5'2" and 100 in that one. Totally different.
You don't know if they're okay.
See, that's her right there. That's she's lost a lot of weight before that other picture, so I don't know where, you know, what that means, or, you know, hopefully she's not doing. Nah, it didn't look like a wig. It looked like she just made her hair like that. Anyways, so there we go. And then today, an article came out, and missing Gresham woman remains found in Portland, police say. The remains of a Gresham woman missing since December were found in a Portland neighborhood. Kristen Smith, 22, was reported missing by her family on December 22nd. Nearly 2 months later, on February 19th, her remains were found in a... Oh, I guess her remains were found way back then, near Southeast Deerdorf Road and Southeast Flavel Street in Pleasant Valley neighborhood, according to police. Over the following months, investigators gathered evidence from the scene and conducted more searches, according to a written statement from Portland police. Her family was also notified after her remains were positively identified. So...
family is looking for answers after the remains of their missing loved one were found in Southeast Portland.
Well, the discovery came in February, but today investigators confirmed that they are the remains of the Gresham woman who was reported missing late last year.
Fox were found in this wooded area nearby. The family tells me this isn't the up. Smith's family says they'll always remember her contagious smile.
The giggle. That girl had a laugh that was very unique.
The 22-year-old was reported missing at the end of last year. Her family hadn't let up hope searching for her.
I had dinner with her the last time I saw her and spoke about her cat. She loved her cat very, very much.
The Portland Police Bureau says they respond.
All right, so here's the thing. They gave us the address of where it was. So it was, let's see, where, well, what was the intersection they said? Yeah, Southeast Flavel Street, Deerdorf Road and Southeast Flavel Street. So that is, I mean, when they say Portland, it's, I mean, it's right here. I don't know when they, I think that's still considered Portland, I guess. I don't know. But if you go down to the street here, I kept looking around. I couldn't find it. I went up and down these different roads, and I couldn't find the shot there. So let me show you what happened. It was pretty cool. It's one of those cool little moments again. Yeah, so I was looking at it like this, and I was suspicious about this spot over here originally. You see how that's like a place you can pull over and the rest of it's just roads? So I was kind of suspicious of this spot, but I couldn't see anything, right? And then I was looking at this picture over here. Now, let me open that back up again. Right here, and then I was looking at this and how it kind of curves around. And then I was looking at the ground there, and I was thinking, well, I don't see that here. Okay, but watch this. Ah. So the other one was from 2 years before, and now we're in 2021, and watch this. I mean, it's almost unbelievable, really. Look at where the, I don't know if you can see it, but, crap, there it goes again, man. That is just going to drive me insane. See right there? I don't know if you can see this, but there's a line there and this line, and see even right there, that little part that kind of goes up like that, that's right here, and then right around here, this area, or a little bit further over. Yeah, that's right. Right there is this portion, and then it kind of goes over there, and then the white line, and then if you look, it curves around to the left just like that. So the camera person standing about right there when they took that shot, and then you see in the picture, I always have to have multiple things.
To reports
so
of human remains found in a wooded.
when you go up there, see there's a telephone pole with a sign on it right there. Well, that's right there. The telephone pole. This has just all been cut away, and they do that often around. They get rid of the blackberry bushes, and so there's the telephone pole with the sign on it, and then now it looks like it goes around the corner, and they're likely in that parking spot over here. So that her body was probably found off of this parking area down there. Can I get a boom? All right. Without that one street view showing the same exact cracks, you wouldn't know. Wouldn't be able to figure it out. Because even that sign is not even there. See, watch when you go over here and let's see. If I go up, yeah, it's crazy though. You come over here and it just sort of. Sometimes you can't even find the one. Maybe it's this one. There it is. See, there's no sign on that telephone pole because this is 2015. This shot here. Wait a minute. That same freaking car there? Wait, let me look at that. All right, that's 2015 there. That's a different one. I was just looking at those going, wow, how weird is that the same car is parked there. Yeah. Yeah, so what, KK? And both of them have double yellow lines. Can you see right there? It's a double yellow line. The camera's just down low. You know, sometimes when you comment, it's almost like you don't realize that I know what I'm doing. I've done this for a long time. It's strange. And they're not white. That's yellow right there. Double lines. Yeah. So, anyways, that's the spot. That's the telephone pole there that there's the same. See, that's a different one there. You gotta keep moving it around. Right there. There you go. And there's the sign. It is even in the exact same spot. Yeah, but you're always challenging on stuff that, like, I've already looked through it all. It takes me a while. I don't just say, oh, look, ooh, 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 this isn't the right spot. Ooh, 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 this is the right spot, just because of one thing. I look at multiple different things. In fact, how about this one right here? See that tree right there? How it bends up? I bet that's the same one. Around the corner there. Just a different angle from a little bit further back. See that one right there? Boom. Same tree. All kinds of stuff going on. Gray, you're so mean. Yellow center lines are white in the other picture too. Now, what's Civic versus Lincoln? Oh yeah, the cars. Yeah, they're not the same. I just had a quick glance at it. Okay, well, they found her. Now they're gonna. Now the ex-boyfriend, if he's really a suspect, is probably a lot more nervous if he had something to do with it. Oh yeah, I always do, KK. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Hey, that's even a better one right there. This one's 2019, but you can see it and it looks like they kind of cut it around. And I had dinner with her. I think we just heard everything that was in it, right?
Area near Southeast Deerdorf Road and Flavel Street on February 19th. Now authorities have confirmed the remains belong
I think
to
I treat the peeps really well, KK. Just whenever somebody challenges me on something that I do all the time, it's a little bit old.
For every moment of every day.
And her family's search has turned into one for answers.
What happened? I know she didn't just suddenly die out there. Somebody did something.
Loved ones gathered at her family's home to not only grieve the unimaginable loss, but to share cherished memories.
I've been in jail already,
They remember
Cindy. I think
her
nobody's
creative spirit.
Nobody's getting me out of jail a second time. I can tell you that.
Showed me how to do my hair,
Especially
nails,
not KK.
makeup, all of it.
She loved wearing
KK would leave me in. If she was the only one watching, I would be in jail for 47 shows in a row.
wigs and makeup and eyelashes. That girl was left-handed and she could draw. She was a really good artist.
And found some comfort being
Thanks,
surrounded
KK.
by
That's
the
so nice
animals
of you.
Kristen considered family.
Actually, when I go up and read, you were actually agreeing, right? So all of that was a waste of time. Yellow center lines are white in the other pic too. Was that what you're saying?
He's over here.
Yeah, you should have seen me and KK during the Debbie Collier days. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Hey, by the way, is there any updates on that one? Anybody nefariously still looking at that? Couldn't give it up?
Here, or Echo. We call her Eki. That's always what her nickname was.
So we always have a piece of Kristen with us since we have her cat.
But they say closure would be finding out.
Yeah, behind the
what
scenes we were always arguing.
to
It was
Kristen.
funny.
For the truth to come out, she deserves justice.
Authorities say the death investigation is ongoing and anyone with information is asked to contact Portland police detectives. And the family has started a GoFundMe.
So it has her mom's picture on it? Okay, so the family's got a GoFundMe.
To help pay for any memorial or funeral related expenses. We'll have a link to it on our website, kptv.com.
Yeah, it's kind of... People's family members die, you know. How would they have taken care of her if she had just been, you know... I'll do memorials, like funds if it's for... like if it's a cold case and somebody needs money for, you know, hire a search team or something like that. But, you know, paying for the actual funeral of somebody seems like that's sort of like that's what you do of your own family members, right? Does that seem weird to say, or? She got a tattoo of her mom on her arm or something, or what? What'd she do? Oh yeah, and then we have a case. Remember the case we covered a long time ago? Tristan. I mean, it was so much longer ago than I remember it being. Though. That's the weird part about it. This you'll probably remember it right when I pulled up for the people who've been here a long time. But you have to have been watching since Zozo might be the only one in here that would, and Paulette maybe. You remember the one that was at this campground in Malibu, and we kind of worked through where the tent was and everything. For some reason I don't have it set up right here, but like there was a tent here and somebody got shot. You guys remember this one at all? Yeah, it was this one right here. Oh yeah, and Jen H has been around.
When he was shot and killed inside the tent, police say in front of his daughters.
Yeah, so it's like a scientist mysteriously killed while camping with his 2 young daughters, died from being shot in the head, according to the coroner's office. Tristan Beaudette, 35, was gunned down. Oh, and by the way, this is Fig Solve's cousin. Like, I guess his dad, or, you know, one of his parents' sister's kid. You know, or, you know, one of his parents' siblings' kid. And he mentioned it, and I was like, oh shit, we covered that one. So Tristan Beaudette, 35, was gunned down at about 4:45 a.m. Friday at Malibu Creek State Park in Southern California. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office and Department Medical Examiner said no one else was injured, the Sheriff's Office said. And that's him right there. Yeah, that's right. So that was I think he was in a tent and was shot while he was inside of it. I remember looking at these images here, and that's what we were trying to figure out. So it was kind of like, what was that? Because you could see the little ring of the fire pit or something. Let's see, the bench. Yeah, it might be this one right here is where that tent was. Like right next to this, somewhere in this area. And he was shot, and this guy seemed like he was a serial killer because there was all these other people dying at the same time. Hey KK though, did she put it in a blue flower pot and then put a door? Okay, so anyways, they arrested a guy quite a long time after that. Not too long, but maybe seemed like within a month or two. And it says a jury on Friday found a man guilty of murder in connection with the shooting of a father who was camping in a tent with his 2 young daughters in Malibu Creek State Park. Anthony Rada, 46, had been accused of a slew of charges in the shooting and what prosecutors said was a related crime spree. Rada was found guilty of second-degree murder in the killing of Tristan Beaudette, attempted murder of Beaudette's 2 daughters, and 1 other person. So apparently they had enough even for 1 of the other persons. A 5 count of second-degree commercial burglary. He was exonerated on the separate counts of first-degree murder. How can he not get first-degree murder? I mean, he's the one that shot the guns in these tents. It's ridiculous. What do you mean? Hey, come on, KK. You were one of the people that was always thinking she was guilty of something. Come on. I'm just saying, it was a flower, right? Was it in a blue flower pot by the door? Don't get me started. No, it won't. No, it wasn't the key in the blue flower pot by the door. Prosecutors had been seeking first-degree murder conviction for the June 22nd, 2018 killing of Tristan Beaudette as he camped with his daughters, but jurors convicted Rada instead of the lesser charge. Why is that? God. They tried to link Rada to a series of shootings, all which generally occurred in the early morning hours. The commercial burglary charges involved a series of break-ins, including two at the Calabas Community Center and 2 at the Las Vegas Virgins Water District facility between July and October 2018. So this guy was kind of like a serial killer. But at least we got, there's an answer and a resolution to a case that we covered. We haven't been covering it, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into it, but that's one that we looked at for quite a few days back then. Thank you, Shogun Love. How's it going, Shogun Love? So is everybody still here, or did everybody take off after the life support, whatever you want to call it, story? I don't know, Gray. You got me in such a bad mood. I think I might carry the other story over because that one takes longer. So let me show you what it looks like. So it's not many files in it. They're all pretty big too. Well, that one's not too big, but let's see. Yeah, I mean, some of these, that's the parent, and then it goes on to another page there. So we'll take a look at that one tomorrow. Yeah, every time I sit next to this vent at night, my nose gets plugged up. So I guess that's still a thing. I thought I fixed that, but apparently not. Are you still here, Esther? Are you admitting that you were one of the ones? Oh, and Ashy Snow's still here. Okay. All right. All right. So look at above, everybody. The question that I asked above is, if someone doesn't have a head and you're able to keep the heart pumping, is it alive? And the answer was that 19% of 151 people. That means that, let's see, 30... So that'd be, of 150, 10% is 15. So almost 30 people thought that, yes, you're still alive without a head, as long as the heart is still pumping and oxygen is flowing through your lungs. Come on, that's crazy. I have a Navage. I use it. I'm going to probably use the Neti pot right after this one. That one's easier for me to use on a quick basis. I think it works better for me too. The Navage is sort of weird. Are you supposed to like kind of breathe in and out your nose a little bit just to kind of really get it up there? Or just let it do what it does and breathe out your mouth? Never really asked that question. All right, let me ask you this. If you merely had somebody's lungs and a heart on a table and you were able to connect wires to it, pump blood through the heart and the lungs, and they seem to keep moving, is that a life? Because apparently, based on the poll question up there, 19% of you would say yes. Okay, Mills. Oh, God, look at these people. I think some people just say, they answer contrary just to be goofy. I think that's the percentage of people goofing around. Right? I mean, is there really anybody in here who thinks that without a head that you're living just because your heart's beating? I mean, for example, when you cut a chicken's head off, it runs. It runs around. And just moments later, it's a dinner for somebody, okay? Those chickens without heads, they aren't alive. Amazingly, they sort of run. They can still run. Isn't that weird? It's an organic lifestyle. I need that again. Sounds like a movie. I hope so. I guess a brain is needed to be considered alive. Well, that's what I think. Wouldn't you too, if it was your family member, if they literally had no brain activity, and after you sat around at home for a while, wouldn't you decide to come back and say, yeah, they're not actually alive anymore. That's not them. Now, there's people like Scout Dude was talking about that, almost die on an operating table, or technically die, but then they're brought back because, if you do it within 2 or 3 minutes, their brain function hasn't ceased, and you get the blood flowing again, and everything's back to normal again, or normal-ish, right? So you can survive that stuff. But when your brain goes dead, there's no coming back from it with current technology, and I don't know if there will ever be that because it's not there anymore. Now, what did Music Maker say? Oh, cool. Good. Thanks, Music Maker. Were you answering a question to somebody, or? I have you in the. Let's see. Oh, where at? Somewhere else, or let me go look. I thought you had you in there from earlier. No, I don't see it. Did I miss you or something, Music Maker? I mean, what made you tell me? Thank you. I don't know if I missed you up here. Maybe I don't have you in here. Yep, I see it there. Thank you. Your old school body parts, they'll make you into something with freaky AI. That's right. Remember the Cylon? I used to be able to do that pretty good. Let me see if I can get this going. Hey, that was pretty good, man. That was like a Cylon. Let me do that again. By your command, maybe you did not in the other metal bar. Man, I should be doing my own sound effects for the shows. Don't you remember Battlestar Galactica, everybody? Oh, man. Scouting Dude probably does. Hey, we're talking about something that you're not talking about, Cowboy. And you're not welcome back ever again. Thank you very much for showing up, though. Come on, don't you remember that? That's exactly what it sounded like. By your command. Come on, you guys. Yeah, I'm sure it was loud, but here, listen to what it sounds like. Let me show you one of these. Hold on. Oh, there you go. I think it's, what is it? Cylon Voice Battlestar Galactica.
Attention, attention. His Eminence, the Imperious Leader, will be with us shortly.
God, come on, you guys. I sounded just like that. Be honest. Yeah, the original one was kind of... Well, you couldn't have liked Buck Rogers, right? You guys couldn't have liked Buck Rogers. Remember that stupid little... what was the name of that little thing that would go... I think I'm in love. This little robot in Buck Rogers, or whatever the hell that thing was called. Tweaky, or... My Buck Rogers was pretty good, too. Come on. Let me try it again. By your command, maybe you did not in the other battle now.
Ship has landed at the air dome.
See? I mean, it's freaking perfect.
Eminence, our Imperious Leader.
It really works with that little echo sound like that. Yeah. Come on, Gen H. Come on, that was pretty good, don't you think? It is Friday. Maybe we should all have a drink. What are you guys doing? If you don't drink, then don't drink. But if you are somebody that drinks... Oh, you don't think that was a good imitation, Daniel Burrell? Or are you just saying, in general, the Cylon sounds bad? Wow. Just wow. Yeah, water sounds good. What was the thing that was funny from yesterday? It wasn't wow, just wow. That was Amber said it. What did you say yesterday? What was that one? Oh yeah, that was row just row. Oh, that's almost got to be a mug at this point, don't you think? I said it. Yeah. row. Just row. So I guess that just means like you're fighting. Fight. Just fight. Argue. Just argue. Oh, you're on drink number 3, huh? Have I made you laugh at all tonight, Linzabelle? I know I've been making American Lady just laugh all night, man. She's just been chuckling up a storm. It's been absolutely amazing. It's made me feel fantastic. Just picturing, you know, the only thing that was weird, I had this camera that's filming American Lady's house, and it was weird is I thought she was laughing, but she had this knife in her hand, and there was a picture of me on the wall in the background, and she was hucking it at the picture. And I thought it was just sort of, thought it was funny, but at this point, I'm not sure. Okay, let me try it again. Let me do it again. There's no, okay, that didn't work.
Has landed at the air dome.
Has landed in the air dome. But do you have that?
Presenting with us shortly. His ship has landed.
Let's see. His ship at
the air dome.
Oh, at the air dome. His ship landed at the air dome. That was a joke. See? I'm psychic, she said. She was like, you know what she did? She put my notebook on the wall and just kept hucking knives at it over and over again. It was... What do you mean it's not a life without a brain? You know what? You're right, you guys. I actually blew it. We've all watched Wizard of Oz, right? I mean, remember the Scarecrow? He didn't have a brain, and he could still walk around and talk to people. So you got me there. And guess what? The Tin Man, he didn't even have a heart, and he was still walking around. All right, we'll do the one from, I think it's New Jersey, I believe. We'll do that one tomorrow. That's why I didn't have my picture on the screen. I didn't want you to break your television, American Lady. If my face was on the screen, you might have a broken flat screen at this point. Or maybe watch it on your computer. Your phone would... Your computer, laptop, your phone would all be broken. So, yep, that's TikTok. You're a regular Rich Little. Oh yeah, I can really just. Rich Little, he was awesome. Is he still alive, by the way? I mean, that was a long time ago. American Lady, Love for Gray, 300. Oh, you got me to 300. Well, thanks. Except now, if man, that would really, for the OCD people, that number is going to bug some people. We had an OCD battle during the Jodi Arias trial the other day. With, I think it was John Dunn, right? Like he was just, wait a minute, wouldn't I need to add $9.16 to make that $3.10. And then he got this perfect, okay, I wanted to get it right at 120%. What's the number, Gray? And I told him, he goes, boom, we got it. And then somebody on purpose put it like 342 in there just to, but I had screen grabbed it at 120 so that he could still see it. And it would make him feel good. It was sort of like a Trigger Bunny image. Oh, he's 84 years old. Yeah. Well, what's going on, everybody? You're so quiet. Yeah, it was pretty funny on there. Use a freaking password that I can remember to donate from now. Oh, dude. Nah, don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah, well, anyways, I hope you guys don't think I was being totally mean earlier. It's just like, yeah, I could see like some of the anger coming back in the chat. I wasn't trying to be. My whole goal earlier was to, yes, we can all agree that the parents are barbarians. But let's go to the legal. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting legal case at some point when this all, you know, when it all comes out. You know, when it gets to trial, I think it'll be absolutely interesting. Because I think that if he gets any kind of... The ACLU will probably pick up his case. And I would imagine. And they're going to argue that based on what the hospital was even saying, that the child could not live on its own and its brain wasn't working, that it was brain dead, basically. And the only way to keep it alive was artificially. That you could consider it, I mean, I guess, you know, what Eugenie's saying will probably be what it is, because it was deemed to still be alive. Because it wasn't, you know, no death certificate was probably signed. So, you know, technically, I guess that would be legally, it's still, quote, alive. But, so then I think it's sort of, I don't know. God, it's going to be so weird. It's going to be a great argument in there. But you guys can definitely see how it's a little similar to the whole abortion argument, right? There's sort of a similar feel inside, for me anyways. It's like, you get this sort of like, God, some things don't make sense, you know? I'll throw out, how about this? I'll throw out the scenario that I've brought up before, just to see what you guys would say. I got another 12 minutes here. So there's probably some new people here, but what I've said before is this. If you were somebody who was walking down the street and you were 4 months pregnant and a mugger came up and punched the lady in the stomach, you couldn't tell that she was pregnant. The mugger couldn't tell, just punched her and took her purse and ran away. And then the lady lost the baby. And I asked you guys, how many of you would be outraged that 4-month-old baby that was inside of her died? And almost every one of you would say, oh my God, what a monster. He should be put in prison for decades. And then I'd say, oh, well, the lady was actually on her way to an abortion clinic. Would you still have the same outrage for the death of the child as she went in to get the abortion? See, then it would be, well, no, because then it's her choice. Okay, so then you ask the question, so the importance of the life of the child is completely based on the woman wanting to have it. That's it. Okay? But so you get what I'm saying, right? Okay, but why? Yeah, but you get what I'm saying? Like, see how there's a difference there? What difference would it make? Like, why is it all of a sudden okay now? Like, she's heading up into an abortion clinic because she was going to get rid of the baby. Would those same people then go, oh, okay, I'm not as outraged anymore? And if not, why not? Because she was just about to go legally do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? And that's where this weird hypocrisy exists in this whole argument. That's why it feels similar to me. So you've got the hospital here that says, oh, Yeah, I mean, we don't consider it a life at this point. I mean, we'll just stop the giving air and it'll pass away. Okay, and then you take it home, and then these people are keeping alive something. I don't know. It just has a similar feel. It's not exact. It's not even close to the same analogy or anything like that. But what I just said, doesn't that make you kind of think for a second? Because everybody would be outraged, right, at the death of the 4-month-old baby that was inside of her, right? Like, everybody would be outraged at that. Like, you go, oh my God, how dare that person? And I would think, me personally, I would think that guy should get, manslaughter or something for killing the baby inside there. But if you're pro-choice, your best option is to say that there should be no punishment for that, because then that opens the door to that other conversation that I just had. It was the robber's baby. That would be a plot choice. He didn't want to pay support, Zozo. Notice how it gets really quiet, because it's like it does make you think. Makes you wonder, why is the outrage gone now? The same woman's walking down the street with no mugger, and then goes into the building and aborts the same baby, and everybody goes, yeah, that was her choice, though. Okay, so the anger you have for the mugger is merely that she took the choice away, not the life itself. Do you see that right there? So the anger for the mugger is merely that you took the choice away, not the life of the baby. Because if it was the life of the baby, you would feel just as outraged when she went in and did the same thing. Does that make sense? And I know that's frustrating to hear, but that's an absolutely logical argument that when you listen to, it's hard to get out of without just saying, it's a woman's right to choose, Gray. And then we just all stop right there. Except I added that into the argument. You got to choose, and nobody cares now. The mugger just took away your right to choose, so therefore it wasn't about the life of the baby. It was more just your choice was taken away. If we can just agree with that, then that would make sense. All right. Yeah, don't you hate when I just bring up stuff that's like, it's a little difficult. That's a hard one there. How do I think through this one? This one's tough. And I'm not even giving you a value judgment on what I think about that topic. It's just one of those things that's crossed my mind before, and I bring up the same story because someday that's going to happen, actually. At some point that is going to happen, that exact thing that I just said, and I wonder what will the response be. Because it's hard to, the pro-choice people would want it to be no charges whatsoever for the mugger, because once you do charge him, then it rotates back over to, well, then why isn't it? Oh, well, then it would be, well, he took away my choice. That's the only crime here. Okay, so he took away your choice. What punishment should be for just taking away your choice? Because it's not the life that mattered. It's just the choice. So what punishment should it be for the choice? You get it? It's crazy. Yeah, the assault's already there, Peter. We've already talked about that on, every other time I bring it up. Yes, he would get assault and he would get the robbery and all that stuff. But you would have to have it where the baby's life meant nothing, right? Yeah, timeout, yeah. And it was merely the choice, because as soon as you say that the baby's life meant something, then the abortion argument has a problem at that point. I know, here's the thing, everybody. I know this is one of those topics that's like a no-no, but are we having it? Is this okay? Is this working? Like, is it an okay conversation? Yeah, well, thanks, Esther. I appreciate that. Yeah, I like to make people just think about stuff instead of just, ho-hum, everybody, this is what we do, so we're just kind of... And I've had this exact conversation in here probably 5 times in the last 5 years. But, you know, it's something that every once in a while you get new people, and I wouldn't mind seeing what they think. For your advanced directive? Oh, at some point we will all be in the state or something similar. Huh. Oh, cool. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, like at the end of life, if you're just sitting there and you're not really ever going to wake up again, do you want to still be just sort of hanging on there, even though you're not really aware of anything and there's no chance? Yeah. Well, cool, Lillian. I know it frustrates people sometimes, but I so appreciate when we have those times where we can talk about stuff, and even though it's hard, if you can get rid of the emotional angle of it, then it gets really interesting. It's like, okay, check it out, man. Isn't this weird? I'd like to be able to do that more, but I always, you know what I don't like is that when I sit around and I literally have to contemplate how frustrated and upset people get when you talk about certain things because it doesn't fit what everybody wants it to be. And I don't like having to think that. It sort of feels bad. But that's more on me, because it seems like once we start talking about it, people, maybe there's some hard moments at first, but then everybody starts going, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Or not, maybe it doesn't make sense. Sometimes you guys have talked me like, yeah, that doesn't really make that much sense. I don't think so, Zozo. I think just enough. If I didn't think, probably wouldn't be able to do this. Yep, that's right. Even though Zozo isn't a troll, doesn't she come across as a troll to me? I mean, she just, every show it's the same thing. Even though she's total supporter, helps me out all the time. Every time I'm doing these shows, I just think, is she an actual, on the show itself? It's hilarious. It's it's funny as hell. Let's see. Sometimes. Yeah, she throws in jokes and stuff. Been trolling since birth, she said. That's right. Well, I think you are, KK. I'm almost 100% sure of that. And no, I don't think everybody's a troll. I think that a lot of the, if there's people, a lot of times when people get the free memberships, I do think that they might be trolls. Yeah. Some of them. I check every single one of them. I don't think you're a troll, KK. Jesus. I had to say that because of what you said. You said everybody. Well, listen, if I think everybody's a troll, doesn't that include you? Or are you the only one that I didn't think was one? Boom! Got you there, KK. You just told me that every single person to me is a troll. And therefore, I must think you are one. I guess if the lady was going in to have an abortion, some states protect that for her. Someone comes up and punches her in the stomach is a crime. Yeah, well, that's right. The crime, there's still an assault. I never eliminated the assault on her. It's the baby itself, though. So I think when we reduce it all down, this is the reality of it. Pro-choice people, they are about it's a woman's right to choose, and the life of the baby is secondary to all of that. Okay, so it's so the mugger comes up, he kills the baby at 4 months old. There's still an assault charge, all that stuff, but should there be an extra charge for the baby itself? And pro-choice people would necessarily have to say, no, there shouldn't be, because it wasn't a life at that point. And he should get punished for taking away my right to choose, though. But if I care about the life in this argument of the mugger, then why doesn't society care about the life when I chose to walk into the clinic? You see that? So basically, it's you took away my right to choose, that makes me angry, and that's it. You can't, the baby's life is irrelevant in that situation, right? Yeah. I mean, I think if you think through what I just said, that is the reality of it, which is kind of, that's something you look at that and you go, wow, that's weird. So basically what it's saying is that the mothers of babies get to be the people who deem it a life or not by wanting it. Like they choose to have it, therefore it is, right? And, I guess the guy doesn't get to have any decision on that other than originally when it was created, but he doesn't get to say if you can have it or not. Let's see. We do need to fly over, don't you think? Not sure which place to go to, though. Yeah, I'm just using 4 months because that's a time where it's legal everywhere, and so there's some people out there that are wanting it to be a right up until birth, and some even have said post-birth, like right after birth. Yeah, I mean, you just don't really want it, I mean, what difference does it make that it popped its head out for a minute? Let's see, Gray still thinks I'm a troll after 2 years. I don't think I've ever thought you were a troll, Annabelle, still. Yeah, that's what I think too. I think most reasonable people would say something like the first trimester should be sort of the cutoff of when you can have an abortion, unless, in the case of incest, or like a rape, or if there's some kind of like life of the mother situation where it will die having this baby. Okay, so I think in those cases, I think everybody can agree to that stuff, Yeah, maybe 9 weeks, whatever. I just feel like it's something that society should be able to agree on, something where at that there's a certain point where it doesn't feel anything, right? Hey, I it's the same way around, Janet, by the way. Okay? I mean, me and Zozo are friends outside of here, so it doesn't really matter. God, these people are stupid. Man, it's amazing. Such dumb people. Let's see. And I'm talking about I mean, people like Janet that just showed up. Just dumber than a box of rocks. Hey, cool, Bama Forever. So, anyways, a crazy night tonight, but you can see what I'm saying. I just has a similar feeling with this death here, where you just kind of, what is the answer? What is the answer? Dumber than a second coat of paint, huh? Good night, Bama Forever, and thank you again, as always. I'm glad you're feeling better, too. Or better, I guess. I mean, yeah, cool. I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm glad you guys aren't just running away. Oh, did you hear Gray? He was telling people what to do. No, I didn't. I never told anybody what to do with their bodies. I'm just bringing up something to think. Like, what does this mean here? And I think that's one of the only scenarios that you can bring up that really is sort of the crux of the matter. where people just don't get it. And I mean, like, pro-life people are like, what about this, you know? I mean, I came up with that on my own about, I don't know, 20 years ago. And it just popped into my head, and I was like, man, how do I justify this situation right here? What does this mean? And I've never been able to just say, oh yeah, here we go, you know, like that. It's the same every time. Where's the roll credits? Roll credits. Roll credits. I bet I can make him go like this. Watch. Oh, this is sweet. Look at it. Get him smaller. Watch this. He's on it. He's on the end of it. Oh, that's right. Just like that. Look at that. He's getting smaller, traveling away with it. All right, the generous freaks with the bunny. We'll do a flyby at the end. Super chat, Stacy, 15 Lee, Jim Long, oh, and Jim Bino, Travelin' Teresa, Wendy Johnson, Eugenie, Annabelle Stealth, Cindy J, American Lady, Nikki Zubs, Alley Cake, David Hughes, my half brother, Bama Forever, Claudia Neubauer, Danielle Burrell, Tina Susser, Music Maker, Cindy Leon, Peter Gene Darcy, DB, Shogun Love, and subscriptions we got Brooke Coleman. So only one person subscribed. I can't believe it after all of what we talked about. Are you kidding me? Members, Ashy Snow. These are just, they could just be that member's comment too. So Ashy Snow, Sure I See You, Chris, Amistad, JJ, Just Deb, something, Balmoral Spring, and Cindy Leon right at the end there. Wow, you just you got in on that scrolling thing. How weird was that? Just, oops. Wait. Flyby. Yeah, that's right. Oops. Ah, crap. What happened? Oops. I'm trying to get Cindy's name in here, but it's just going all over the place. All right, we're going to do a spin for the notebook again. Here we go. And if you don't see your name on there, just, I mean, it's hard for me to get every single one every show because it's like I'm literally doing it on the fly. So hopefully you're not playing just to get in on the spin. Let me try to, but I think I got most of them. And I added some from last night that I screwed up on. Alright, here we go. It's for the blue notebook. And by the way, if you don't have a blue notebook, I'm going to be sending a batch out tomorrow. So if you send $25 into my PayPal, you get a stress ball, a blue pen, and the blue notebook. Right, Danielle? Here we go. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it, Lillian? Oh, look at that. Stacy. Boom. She wins the blue notebook. All right. Stacy, gotta send me your address again. I'll let her know if she's not still here. Sorry we didn't get to that one story, but I want to make sure I don't miss it. I didn't mean to take that much time on that crazy case from Grady Judd. I didn't think it was going to be an hour and 25 minutes on that. All right. Wait, I gotta turn on this terrain. 3D buildings. Oh, I don't want that one. Hey, where's that place in Australia? Let's go back there again. That was the worst one in the history of the world. It was like, Ray, you gotta go to this one. And you go there and it was just like this little thing. Wasn't even sure what it was. I want to go back to one of the original ones, though. Oh, that was the newer one. That's right. I don't want to do that one. Yeah, Uluru. Yeah, I'm sure in person it's amazing. Okay, let me get rid of that part. Okay, so first we do the other part where we, anyways, thanks everybody for the super chats and supporting the channel and the conversation. I know it got kind of heated in there for a little bit, but just try to be like, let me think, wait a minute now, for a minute, let me think. And maybe you were too, and it just that's just what you think, But sometimes I just feel like, most of the time we're all on the same page about something, but there's other times where it's like, there's a little bit more nuance to something. Yeah, maybe we could think through some of that. But anyways, I thought it was a cool conversation, and hope you guys, still don't mind me after that. But anyways. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow. And right after this, we'll be doing the flyby, but I'm going to do the rap, the end of the song dance here. Here we go. Be safe out there. I'll do it twice. One with just this. You go, girl. I'll do it twice with this one. Interceptor! And I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector. Okay, here we go. Let me do this one again. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector. like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all,
He's taking
just
up-
remember I have a temper.
he's taking Lori's
I have no
mojo.
agenda. I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later. That's right, that's right. Hold on. Here it is. Ah, there, right there.
Yay, this is so fun, everybody!
Hey, Greg, what about this one? This is really cool! Where's Paul Bunyan's toilet? Hey Greg, where did the music go, Greg? Oh, there it is. Thanks. Wait, went through a wall. Grady, you see that? Wow, that's so cool, Greg. Dre the Lost City. Everybody, gee, that was so fun, Dre. Can you do that every show? Come on, Dre.
Well, maybe not every show, but I'm sure I could do it more often.
Oh, that would be so. Not every show, though.
I just said more.
Okay, great, but I want you to do it every show.
Oh my God, Mary Lou. You know, I think I used to do it every show. I don't know if I did it every show, but it seems like it. At the very beginning.
I just wanted it every show, great. Yay.
Okay, maybe we'll do it more. That's all I can say. All right. But anyways, thank you guys again for the conversation out there. Yep. Does get heated from time to time, but that's just part of life, right? It was Thanksgiving dinner. It's now over. And tomorrow's Christmas. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And I think that's it.
Yeah, no more videos or nothing?
Nope, that's it. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye. Thanks again.